Have you seen this stat or heard it? The 1 out of every 8 homes for sale is in Florida.
Well, I have seen it, and it's 1 in 7 homes.
I saw 1 in 8, so that means it's going up.
You think it's 2 different articles? You think it was
Yeah.
1 in 8, and now it's 1 in 7?
Yeah.
What's next?
1 in 6.
Pretty soon it'll just be every house that's for sale is in Florida.
Okay. No, I like it. I like it. So the reason why I wanted to bring that stat up to you is because I hear a lot of people talking about the real estate market. But that's in general. That number has no impact on if you're trying to sell a home in North Idaho or Western Washington or Central Kentucky.
Yeah.
In fact, I guess maybe knowing those numbers changes a little bit. Like that might mean that the market's better or worse here. I think when I look at the stats in general, there's pockets like Florida, LA, Seattle area where there's a lot of inventory. And so other areas probably still have a seller's market going on. And so that's the biggest thing I wanted to go through is like, look at those stats, just remind everyone and ourselves that real estate is local.
Yes. It's kind of like the thing that you used to say a long time ago, that if you're planning a picnic or if you're going to go to the beach, it doesn't do you any good to check the weather forecast 3 states away. You better be paying attention to your local weather, just like if you're planning to buy a home or sell a home, you should be paying attention to your local market. And I think people tend to assume, like they'll hear like inventory is way up this year, and then they just assume that's everywhere. They assume it's like an economic thing that affects the entire country. When really like this stat kind of makes you think, well, maybe it's not. Like if 1 in every 7 listings in the country is in Florida, seems like a really good time to buy a house in Florida. Seems like a buyer's market there.
It's a buyer's market,
because they've
most
been,
likely.
Flooded with inventory for whatever reason. There must be something going on there, whether it's economic, like maybe some big companies are leaving. You know, that could be like a reason for that, or it could be it's just less popular. Maybe a lot of people moved there during COVID and now they're moving back home or to the next place they want to live, or whatever the reason is. It's safe to assume it's a buyer's market in Florida. And then
well, let's just talk about Florida for a second. So I think like that idea of if we're planning a picnic here, the other day it was 92 degrees here in Wisconsin where I have family. There was tornado watches.
Yeah.
Like if they were thinking about like, oh, it's 92 degrees, let's go to the beach. Because it's 92 degrees in Idaho and they're going to go out onto the lake, but there's a tornado there. Like that's not going to help them.
Yeah, really, they should be in the basement, not at the beach.
Right.
And it's kind of like if you pay attention to some, that headline, the 1 in 7 listings are in Florida, that at least tells you something about Florida. And then that kind of makes you wonder, well, what is it? And like, what's my area like? Because that's Florida. That doesn't really directly affect me.
And even if it's in Florida, they should still be asking what's happening. If I'm in Florida, what's happening in my market? Because you have the macro, and then you have the metro, and then you have the micro. So what's happening in all of Florida, that's 1 in 7. But maybe in a city, it's an extreme buyer's market or extreme seller's market. And then as you move down into your neighborhood or your condo development, the market changes and fluctuates inside of there. So those numbers at the metro and macro level really don't matter.
Yeah, because if 80% of those listings in Florida are in Miami,
right,
then it's not a good time to be a seller in Miami. But if you're in What's far from that? Orlando.
Jacksonville.
If you're in Jacksonville, maybe you're still in good shape as a seller. Maybe it's still a seller's market. That's very possible, even though it's the same state.
Exactly.
Would you like to hear some stats on, like, this reminds me of some stats around some inventory stats.
Yeah.
Okay.
For what?
For both markets that we work in.
Okay. For local here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Snohomish County, which is Western Washington, and Kootenai County, which is North Idaho.
all right. So I'd call these like super metro stats.
Super metro. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say Snohomish County median sales price.
Yeah.
I want you to guess how it changed June 2025 to June 2026. So right now we're in July 2026. So this is about as current as these stats get.
Okay. Year over year.
So year over year, Snohomish County median sales price. How do you think it changed?
Okay. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, Seattle is one of those markets where it seems like there's an influx of inventory. We're talking about inventory or price?
Right now we're talking about median sales price. We'll get
Price.
or should we start with
No,
inventory?
we can do price. I think price is down. I
prices.
have to guess a number or
Yeah, throw out a number.
5%.
That's a really good guess. It's 5.8%.
That's pretty good.
We could keep in mind historical averages. Home values go up, 4 or 5% per year?
Healthy, you want to be a little bit above inflation. Inflation should only be 2%. So 3 to 4% would be healthy in appreciation.
3 to 4% increase is average. During COVID, 2020, 2021, we saw sometimes like 20% increases, which was no one was claiming that's healthy. So now it's like we're pulling back a little bit. Median sales price in Snohomish County is down
almost 6%.
5.8% year over year.
That's not good.
Not great. So homes for sale. Can you guess that? The number of homes for sale in June 2026 compared to June 2025. Is it up or down? And by how much?
I'm gonna base this off of the last number. If prices are down, I'm gonna say like maybe doubled or tripled inventory. So if it's like 6%, let's say 18% increase in inventory.
Okay. Good guess. But no, homes for sale was up 36%. So that's a real big increase.
My first thought is that's a giant increase, but that is dependent upon the context of what the inventory has been tight for a long time. So just because it's up 36% doesn't necessarily mean there's a huge influx. Numbers can't exist alone, but the price number tells us there's more inventory than probably the market needs right now.
Yes. So, I mean, regardless, it's a pretty big
That's a huge
percentage increase. Okay. And so the median sales price wouldn't be directly affected by that homes for sale number because the median sales price is based on closed sales. Mm-hmm. So I'd be kind of interested to see what the median sales price is in July, realizing the homes for sale the month prior, June, was up so much year over year. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, let's guess number of closed sales. How do you think that changed year over year? Up or down, and by how much?
I'm going to guess up. Things are still moving.
Yep.
Probably not a lot, though. 4%.
Good guess. It's 7.7%.
Okay.
So there are more closed sales in Snohomish County compared to last year.
Okay.
Do you want to move on to Kootenai County, North Idaho?
Okay. So give us a recap of those numbers. What would we cover?
Okay. Median sales price in Snohomish County was down. 5.8%. Homes for sale was up 36%. Big increase. And closed sales up 7.7%.
Okay. So the number of sales is still increasing. So that's good.
Which is a good sign.
But there's a lot of inventory. And I do think that could impact sales price, more competition, driving down sales price.
Yes, moving forward.
But that could make next month, as you're saying, even a greater decrease in
Yeah.
sales price.
Or at least as much. I mean, unless a lot of buyers come out of the come out to buy. And maybe they will, because maybe they'll be excited about this information. They'll be like, it's finally my chance. Finally, there's some inventory to choose from. Okay, so Kootenai County, which is North Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls area, median sales price. How do you think it changed? June 2025 to 2026.
We already said Snohomish went up.
Snohomish went down
Snohomish went down. Sorry. Snohomish went down.
by 5%.
I still think, these words that I'm using are market language, not actual, like take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to say Kootenai's probably a little bit healthier, depending on your perspective. I'm going to say it's up. And we mentioned that 3 to 4% is healthy. I'm going to say it's in that range of like, let's go 3.7%.
It's probably what I would have guessed as well, but it's up 13.6%. Big increase.
That's crazy. Okay.
I know.
So I would actually say that's not healthy. That's going back to that number. That's a little too high.
Yeah. That's almost like COVID times.
Yeah. If we're getting into double digits, that's a real problem. You
Yeah.
can't sustain that.
Yeah. Could be just a weird month.
Outlier.
An outlier, exactly. Probably a more technical term than weird. Outlier is probably a better term. But yeah, we'll see. We'll get July numbers pretty soon.
Okay.
So if we have another 13% increase, then I think we'll start to look around like, oh boy, this is probably not sustainable, or like what's going on. So,
Well, I do have some thoughts on just numbers in general of what's selling right now that after we get done with this, I'll share.
okay.
I don't forget.
All right. Homes for sale in Kootenai County
I think
compared to last year.
that's my first thought was that's up, but I'm going to say maybe because prices are up so high, inventory is pulled back. I'm going to say it's down. I'm going to say it's down like 4%.
You're on the right track. It's down 12%.
Yeah. That
A lot
makes
less
sense.
homes for sale.
That kind of makes
Kootenai
sense.
County. Okay. Closed sales June of this year compared to June of last year. Do you think there are more closed sales or less?
I think that's up. Let's split the difference of the inventory and go in the price and go like 7%.
Good guess. It's up 15.7%. So
Okay.
quite a few more closed sales, which is interesting since there are less homes for sale.
And
of course,
prices are higher. The median price is higher too.
right.
All right, recap those numbers.
Okay, Kootenai County median sales price up 13.6% year over year. So do you want to do any math on that? Like if you own a $500,000 house, it would be up probably about $60,000.
In 1 year.
Yes.
That's a
So
that's a problem.
if it was worth 500 last year, it's worth 560-ish this year.
You add in interest rates haven't changed any in the last year.
And this is not an exact science. It's just, that's just, these are based on the homes that have sold last year compared to this year. It's not a perfect apples to apples. Your exact house is worth exactly 13.6% more. But, that's a pretty, you could start with that. And if your $500,000 house is up 13.6%, then now it's worth about 560.
So what I was going to say about the numbers is what I'm kind of seeing anecdotally just from my eye test is that the market is what I'd call kind of K-shaped. The higher end homes are selling. There's buyers for those. And the quote unquote starter homes are selling. What would normally be considered the sweet spot or that median price, that seems to be a tough market right now. There seems to be fewer buyers in the medium price market than, like, do you have the number on what the median price is?
Median sales price?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not here.
Not
Not
okay.
here. But it's probably about 600, 650.
Yeah, I think that's a tough price to actually be in.
Well, and I think it's probably because, do you mean as a buyer or as a seller?
As a seller,
And
because it's tough for a buyer.
But I think it's my guess is because there's more competition as a seller. Like a lot of the inventory is in that sweet spot, we'll call it. So it's just more competitive as a seller. There's more buyers and more sellers in that sweet spot. Yeah. But like if you go up, what we've seen recently a couple times is in the 1.5 to 2 million price range. It's surprisingly competitive, even though let's say there's not that many buyers compared to the 700 price range. There's also not that many sellers. There's not that many listings to choose from. So it gets to be competitive.
Okay. So what takeaways? What's your takeaways from those stats, those numbers?
Similar to how we started this with that stat about Florida, I would say inventory is way up in Snohomish County, at least in June. But we can't make the same assumption about Kootenai County because inventory was actually down.
Right.
So you need to know if you're heading into a purchase or a sale or both. I think the better you understand what kind of market you are in, the better off you'll be. I think if you can just be clear-headed and understand the facts about like the conditions of your market, you'll be better off. And so I would not totally ignore the national headlines, but take them with a grain of salt and get real curious about what's happening in your exact market.
Yeah, I would never say let the national headlines dictate to you what you should or shouldn't do. If you're thinking about selling and you hear that the market is stalled out or home prices are down, that has like a 1% impact probably on what your home price actually is.
And sometimes more than others. Like sometimes the market in almost every state, like in the entire country, is kind of experiencing something similar, like interest rates, for example. Right. That wasn't just a Florida thing or a Washington thing or an Idaho thing. That affected absolutely everyone.
Right.
But then there's other things like local economies, like employers, like layoffs, right. like psychology, like political things that cause people to move to or from an area. So the stat about 1 in 7 listings is in Florida causes me to get curious about like, okay, that's a pretty interesting thing because we can't blame interest rates for that because the interest rates are what they are no matter what state you're in. But, I do get curious about why that's happening, but also just to pay attention to how that much inventory in Florida right now is affecting Florida compared to some of the other markets in the country, especially the ones that we watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my final takeaway is just the same thing of how we started. Real estate is local. Don't base it. You wouldn't base your picnic, like you said, on national weather. Don't base your home purchase of taking yourself out of the game because your interest rates still haven't come down and home prices are up or down or whatever they're doing. You have to look at this individually for what it is that you're trying to do, because it could even be something like, let's say you're renting somewhere in a single family home area and you see homes coming up for sale and they're high prices, they're selling, and you're like, oh, I'll never be able to buy. The home next door just sold for this price. Well, maybe you should be looking at a condo. In the condo market, like we see this often, that those don't seem to run parallel very often.
There's a lot of buyers who are condo buyers or not condo buyers.
Yeah.
And if you are going to buy a condo, make sure you know what you're getting into.
So sometimes, like we saw this at one point in time, the Seattle condo market was really outpacing the single family homes. And then it kind of reversed during COVID.
Yeah.
People didn't want to be trapped in condos with each other. But I think you have to like separate all those out. You have your rental market, your single family, detached, and then your condo markets, and like get very specific about what you're trying to do.
You've got your $2 million market, which is going to most likely feel a lot different than your $600,000 market, which will feel different from your $250,000 market.
Do you have any closing thoughts, or is that it?
If you are in Wisconsin and there's tornadoes, don't go on a picnic.